Green to finish, and Bairstow ducks once more. That was closer to the body. Oh, and it's... Well, there's a shout for a run out. Now, that's going to be very interesting. Upstairs we go. Bairstow's out here. Bairstow's gone wandering down the track after the ball landed with Carey. And like you might see in junior cricket, Carey's thrown the ball onto the stumps, standing back, and it's immediately been sent upstairs. The question is, was the ball dead? Murray Erasmus, the third umpire, boy, oh boy, what a decision he has to make. If the ball wasn't dead, if that's the decision made by the third umpire, Bairstow's gone, because he was way out of his crease. The only decision that Murray Erasmus has was the ball dead, was the over complete. Phil Long, Jeremy Coney, we have a few minutes ahead of us here. Your first impression, Phil?
Right. I imagine the finger's going up here. I think the finger's going up here. Carey will say he was still in the moment. Carey was simply completing the play.
Oh, he's walked out early.
Oh, he's walked out early.
He's walked out early.
Oh, yes, he's walked out.
I mean, it's all going to be about the central umpire, Ushan Raza. Did he call over?
Yeah,
Cameron Green still in his follow-through. There's no doubt about Bairstow being out of the crease. Bouncer, and he leaves the crease for no particular reason, marking his gut. He assumes it's the end of the over.
Has he called over, though? He's...
The umpire, square leg umpire, will actually appoint that he's actually walking in ready to commence the next over. But
and that's Chris Gaffney, who calls for it upstairs. My sense is this is going to be given out. We're on the screen, it's given out.
Yeah.
It's a moment of controversy at Lords. The crowd are booing. We thought yesterday got people fired up around the cricketing world. Well, buckle up. This is going to be something. Bairstow's walking off the field for 10. This is going to be a moment that goes around the world. 6 for 193. It's in the book. The crowd are angry. Run out by Alex Carey. Bairstow drifting out of the crease. The assessment of Murray Erasmus is that it comes before the over was officially complete, and therefore the ball was live. We'll take a break. Daniel Norcross to pick up commentary. Our coverage is for Maccas. The McFeast is back at Maccas. Barat, our umpire, with us too.
For Maccas. The McFeast is back at Maccas, and the boos you can hear ringing out because Australia have just run out Johnny Bairstow off the last ball of the over because he wandered out of his crease, and it obviously it doesn't feel right to people watching because the ball went straight through to the keeper. Bairstow's just straight at the ground, and then he's walked out. He wasn't obviously going for a run or anything of that sort, but if the umpire hasn't called over, then he's out of his ground, and if the stumps are knocked over at that time, then he's out. Bairstow can't quite believe it. The Aussies are cock-a-hoop, and now we get into spirited cricket territory, which I despise, and the so-called home of cricket, and people are going to be moralising about this for all eternity.
Well, the crowd here is going off, isn't it, about that this is not reasonable, this is not cricket. Well, it is, I'm afraid.
It is, yeah.
And you follow the rules, just the same as Australia had to handle a little one last night about the rules.
Start of a new over, Cummins into Stokes with the game almost won as a result of that wicket, and Stokes pushes it into the onside, gets a single, brings Broad onto strike. It isn't, look, that I was here last September for the run out of the non-strikers end of Dipti Sharma. She did it to Charlie Dean, and I had to explain at the time to people on air that, strictly speaking, within the laws of the game, she was perfectly entitled to do that, because Charlie Dean was out of her ground. And here, just watching this, I guess we see the square leg umpire.
They're showing the whole over, basically, like what Johnny Bairstow does.
The end of each ball.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Now, the difference here is that the square leg umpire or point umpire started to walk in just as the ball was being underarmed.
But he doesn't call over.
If it's not called over, then
it's not that
the ball
Johnny
is live.
Exactly. And the ball isn't dead till the umpire deems it to be. And in this case, he's collected the ball, and he's not even... What, are England walking off? I don't know, Stuart Broad and Ben Stokes have...
No, they're not walking off. Let's be quite clear about that. People listening at home, they've come to have a chat. It'll inflame the crowd, but it's within the laws of the game. It's just a pretty useless way to get a wicket.
And this is a different Lord's crowd today, isn't it? These are people who've paid to get in. Yeah,
that's true. Cummins in, that's short, played off the back foot well by Broad into the offside. He then very performatively keeps his bat behind the crease. He's going to play the pantomime villain here. It's going to be fun. I mean, fair play to Carey for thinking of it. Most other people wouldn't have done. It just feels like a pretty manky way to get a wicket.
No, but,
it's within the laws.
keepers do it all the
With
time.
the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be interested just to see it. How long did Carey actually hold the ball in his gloves? It's very quick, I think you'll find.
It is.
Yeah. Green is in, and Stokes whacks this straight down the ground. Should get a couple for it. Oh, a misfield from Hazelwood, to the delight of the crowd, the Edridge stand, and indeed all round the ground. They're standing, baying and booing. They're able to cheer and boo simultaneously, which is quite the effort.
You actually didn't need to say he misfielded. You could hear it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Short.
Oh.
He's got elevation on this, and it's going to go all the way into the mound stand. 6 for Stokes. His intention is very, very clear. Green into Stokes. Short again. Now, where's this gone? Where's this gone? Oh, it's gone for 6 more. Stark has dropped it over the line. There's serious Trent Bolt vibes going on here. Lords, Stokes moves to 94.
It's insane batting. Stark didn't have enough time to look where the boundary was it? He was thinking about trying to catch it and stop it from going in.
Okay, Green in. Stokes
He's hit
has gone high again. That could be it. That could be his 100. It is. The umpire's arms go up. He's got to 100 with 6, 6, 6. It's almost certainly in a losing cause, but there'll be some chills going through some Aussie veins here.
Would deliver. Stokes swings hard and straight. He gets all of it over the rope into the new Edridge stand. My oh my, Ben Stokes. He is some cricketer. He performs miracles. He has endless belief. Hazelwood into Stokes over the wicket. Short ball. Takes it on to deep backward square. Charts in off the rope. And it's been put down. Stephen Smith in and out. Stephen Smith in and out. And the members are back on their feet. Smith has his hands on his head. Stokes survives. 9 men on the rope. Hazelwood bowls over the wicket. Stokes clubs it over mid-wicket and into the mound stand. That has gone miles. Out towards Father Time. He's given it everything. Stokes 121. He's 6-6. Hazelwood up to Stokes again. Short ball down towards fine leg. It hangs in the air. It goes all the way. It dumps into the picket fence in front of the home dressing room. 2 sixes in 3 balls to start. Hazelwood's over. Stokes has now hit 7 of them. 7 of them. 108 to win. 6 for 263. Stokes to 127. Inside the line, doing everything right, picking the length. Back on the leg side, round the wicket pavilion end. Stokes swings, top edge. Carey running back with the flight, and he's taken it! Stokes is out. And Josh Hazelwood leans back like Freddie Flintoff did on this ground in 2009. Godlike. And as for Ben Stokes, there won't be a second miracle, but the most masterful performance from where they were. A partnership worth 108.
You know, everyone at Lords is on their feet. So should we. We've been privileged to see one of the best test innings you'll ever see. Josh Hazelwood almost got him out just after the lunch break. Steve Smith put it down. This time, much better length from the Australians in the last 20 or so minutes to Ben Stokes. They stopped going just short to him. Ben Stokes swung hard at that. He was lining Josh Hazelwood up. Top edge, and Alex Carey, who's been involved in a lot of important moments today, kept his cool, held his nerve, and is that the game for Australia? It was Ben Stokes versus Australia.
Away from us, nursery end, into Robinson, new to the crease, bowls here, Robinson swings high, up the deep square leg, hanging in the air, and it's taken! Steve Smith, who put a catch down at the start of the session, gives it big. 2 in 2 overs, Australia 2 wickets from victory. Ollie Robinson holes out for 1, and England are 8 for 302.
Hazelwood from the pavilion end, bowls to Broader, gets a top edge, playing the hook shot, Green, yes, out!
Aye.
They are 1 wicket away. They can almost taste it, the Australians.
I think Broady's gone upstairs. You can't do that, Stuart.
Stuart Broad, who played the support act for Ben Stokes, but when he was the main man, He couldn't last. And Australia get a 9th wicket at the score at 302. Broad out for 11. Caught by Green in the deep off the bowling of Hazlewood. So in the end, Hazlewood getting both Stokes and Broad.
Works away from us. Into them here. He's bowled him! Mitchell Starc takes leg stump out of the ground to finish the test match. Josh Tongue, who did a lot right at number 10, knocked over for 19. England bowled out for 327. Australia have held their nerve. After 4 years ago, so much trauma at Headingley. They were tested today by Ben Stokes, but there isn't to be a second miracle. Australia go 2-0 up here at Lord's, victorious by 43 runs, Damien Fleming.
Well, we've been pleading for it from an Australian perspective, and then finally, that wasn't even a picture-perfect Yorker from Mitchell Starc, but it was enough to shatter straight into the stumps. Tongue did a really good job. He made it exciting, but he kept going leg side of the ball so wide that any ball on the stumps he just wasn't going to be able to reach. Wonderful victory for Australia. It's been the pitches have been docile, but the cricket's been entertaining, and none more today than Ben Stokes, who showed once again what an absolute mega superstar he is of world cricket on one leg, and almost willed his team over the line with a record amount of sixes hit here at Lord's. And the Australians, without Nathan Lyon, they missed him today, Colo. And they bowled a lot of overs, more than what they would have wanted to do going into a short break third test at Headingley. But they've got the job done. They're 2-0 up. Well done to the Aussies. They've been able to take on Bazball. They've been able to find a way, some great individual performances, but today was probably as a collective. There was no one dominant bowler. They just did their job and got the Aussies over the line.
Last week it was you and Nathan pulling off the narrow run chase. A lot different today. Ben Stokes felt like we were back in Headingley 4 years ago. But you guys bowled differently. You played the game at a different pace. So how did it feel different, to be out there in the middle?
Yeah, it felt a bit different. Probably didn't feel as rushed. I felt like we could close down a few overs. Didn't feel like every over was going to be a big over. Without Nath as well, we kind of had the skin a little bit differently, and having a few more runs helped a lot. I thought he was fantastic. He played a brilliant innings. He's pretty formidable when he's in that kind of form.
The last over before the lunch break, you were bowling. You suddenly stopped to tie your shoelaces. It took a while to tie your shoelaces. What was that part of the whole strategy in slowing the game down, doing it at your pace?
Yeah, I just had to adjust my socks there for a little bit, but it's one of the first things you get taught in cricket, isn't it? If the pace is speeding up, well, make sure you're in control when it's your turn to bowl.
And this is the short pitch ploy that you guys used to start with for him, and then you changed and he started making him hit towards the other side. Was that something you came up with on the fly, or was that discussed, and just the success you got with it?
Yeah, we changed. The main reason being the wind was just howling towards one side, so it felt like it was a really small hit. We just switched over, tried to get him to the long side into the wind, and we're able to. The run rate was only going at 1 or 2, which when you still need 100, made them feel further away.
Just going back to how you played the entire test match. I mean, you were in front, you got a very big score on the board in the context of the conditions you were put into bat, and then 1 for 180, England seemed to be on top almost, and then you brought it back when you changed your policy. So just the overall game pattern, how you controlled it.
Yeah, I thought, to lose the toss, that first day was a tough day to negotiate, and I thought the way the batters got through was really important and really impressive. There's even a couple of 30s they got done that were really important, and that kind of set up the rest of the game. Kind of a bit like Edgbaston, it ebbed and flowed a little bit. To hold on to a first innings lead was huge, because the wicket didn't feel like it was going to play too many tricks.
When you come to Lord's, they say you're hallowed turf, the home of cricket. It didn't feel very homely for a while there, did it? As you guys were walking to the long room. So, just what was that like to experience that?
Yeah, they were pretty hostile. The men and women in their ties, ties and jackets. You kind of know you're in the middle of an Ashes series. Everyone, some decisions are polarising, and yes, portions of the crowd certainly made it felt how what they thought of some of the decisions, and that's fine.
But just on the dismissal itself, it felt like something that wicketkeepers do on a daily basis. But post-game or during the games, it's like, could Pat have withdrawn the appeal itself? Like, how did you see that play out?
Yeah, it's quite common to see keepers do it all the time, and I think you've seen Bairstow do it himself when he's keeping quite a lot. It's a tactic he uses all the time. So it's pretty clear to me that that's just out. You just know you've got to stay in your crease.
And just last year, Stuart Broad came out and he had a lot to say, but most of you just laughed at him. So what was that like? I mean, you used to that from Stuart Broad.
Yeah, I'm just used to it. I think he talks when he bowls, he bats when he's on Twitter. It was fine.
And just finally, just 3 days before the next test, you're 2-0 up. You'd want to close it off, but no Nathan Lyon, Todd Murphy comes in. What are the next 3 days going to look like before you toss it Leeds?
Very relaxed, I dare say. So we'll get up there and you won't see the fast bowlers at training, I reckon. But really satisfied. I think we'll spend today enjoying this one and sharing a few stories, and then we'll shift our focus in the next couple of days.
And hope the eye will look better as well.
Thank you. Yes.